Evening, everyone. It's Simon here from Leicester Fan TV on my own tonight, talking about the big game on the weekend, 12:30 on Saturday against Chelsea. Enzo Maresca coming back to the King Power Stadium for the first time since he left us in the summer, along with a whole host of ex-Leicester City players that could potentially feature at the weekend. So I'm on my own tonight, so I need your comments. I need you to get involved. I need you to help me talk about the game. So let's get cracking.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow us on all socials.
Evening, everyone. Like I say, Simon here with you tonight, talking to you about the big game at the weekend coming up. Like I say, get your views, get your comments in. Help me out because I'm on my own. Evening, Matthew. How are you? Nice to see you with me tonight. Evening, Dawn. Also nice to see you. Great to have you back. Javier, the bald man is back. Absolutely. The ego that is Enzo Maresca is back with us this weekend for the first time. Just before we start getting into the chat about the Chelsea game, let's just talk about BC Game, because the club announced today, and there was a lot of rumours going around over the last couple of days, but the club actually put a statement out that the parent company, Crypto Casino, that own BC Game, our shirt sponsors, have gone into bankruptcy. The club statement said that they've had assurances from BC Game that it won't affect the deal, and the company continues to operate as normal, at least for the time being. But yeah, it'd be good to hear your thoughts on that as well, because that's financially, certainly, potentially a bit of a bombshell for the club. Evening, Jane. Nice to see you as well. Right, so let's talk about Enzo. And Andrew, Andy, nice to see you, mate. You're saying you don't think it will be pretty on Saturday. Yeah, I mean, Enzo Maresca back at the King Power Stadium for the first time since he left. We all know he left under a bit of a cloud, really. He committed to the club in the summer, went away on holiday, and then it played out that he decided that his future lay elsewhere. Obviously, Chelsea came calling. His head got turned. Well, I suppose the first obvious thing to talk about is what sort of reception he's going to get at the weekend. How he's going to get on. Are the fans going to even acknowledge his existence on the touchline on Saturday, or not? You tell me. You tell me what you think. You tell me how you're going to react to Enzo walking down that tunnel at the King Power Stadium again and taking the side of the pitch for the opposing team, because that's going to be strange. Yeah, just on the sponsor, get King Power or Walkers back on the shirt. I think we'd all have liked that in the summer, wouldn't we? To get something more local and more familiar back on the shirt again. But yeah, who knows? Are we still going to have BC Game on the shirt come a couple of 3 weeks time when this whole financial mess plays out? Who knows? Dawn saying won't clap or boo. So yeah, I think for me, Dawn, I'm in the same place as you. That for me, it's not really about him. It's about Steve Cooper and Leicester City at the weekend and what we produce. And by God, do we need something from the weekend to try and get ourselves back on track after what was really, for me, a pretty dismal performance at Old Trafford last time out. Matthew, we're just a stepping stone. Don't care about him. Yeah, and Matthew, maybe Enzo just saw us as a shop window, just to prove his ability as a manager, to cut his teeth. Before us, he'd just had a few games in Italy as a manager, and obviously had worked under Guardiola at Man City as an assistant manager for a period of time. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe he just saw it as a chance to put himself in the shop window and get himself a bigger job. Jane, when all's said and done, we should be happy for the man. He did us okay. I agree with you, Jane. I think, when we got relegated, I think we all felt it was an absolute disaster, especially with the quality of the squad we had. There was an element of allowing players' contracts to run way down too far. But yeah, ultimately, it is what it is. And he got us up. And I think we were all desperate to bounce back at the first attempt there for any length of time. It was going to be difficult the longer we stayed. So yeah, I agree with you, Jane. I'm grateful to Enzo for getting us out of there at the first attempt. I'm still a little bit bitter, if I'm honest, that after that he didn't give it at least one season in the Premier League. But there we are. It is what it is. Points deduction coming, limited budget. Chelsea come calling. I guess if you're him, you can half understand why he made the decision he made. And it also, at the time, financially helped the club at a time we needed it. So, with Enzo coming back, there's also a host of former Leicester players on the bus back towards Leicester this weekend. I think for me, given the teams that Enzo's picked since the season began, Wesley Fofana's the most likely one to make the team sheet this weekend. Obviously, for all of us, it stung when Kieran Dewsbury-Hall left the club for Chelsea back in the summer, but he's not largely featured for them as a first team selection this season, which must hurt Kieran, because it's it must be an emotional weekend for him, because sorry about that. I don't know. I'm not sure what happened there. We lost a little bit of connectivity, but I'm back now. So here we are. Apologies. So let's carry on. Javier, you're saying, I say we get Chilwell back. Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, I'd take him back. I'd certainly have him back at the club. I think he fits in. I think he knows the club. I think he's got some qualities that would help us. Yeah, the only thing I'd say about that, though, is he's not really particularly, in my opinion, behaved particularly well in the times that he's returned to the club, and he's not really shown a lot of thought for the Leicester fans when he's put on a Chelsea shirt and turned up at the King Power Stadium to play against us. And I can remember certainly the last time we played him in the league, and he wasn't particularly gracious when he scored. So yeah, that's that. In terms of players, obviously, we'll see. I think Wesley Fofana will be the only one that's likely to take the pitch. Not sure if I'd really want to see Kieran Dewsbury-Hall in a Chelsea shirt this Saturday. I'm not sure how I feel about that if he took the pitch, and he probably wouldn't be sure how he felt about it either. But yeah, it's a difficult one for us, difficult one for Kiernan. On another note, Cole Palmer and Levi Colwell, who missed out or withdrew from the England squad over the last week or and a half or so, apparently have both been in training and are both available for selection on Saturday lunchtime. That's an interesting one because Cole Palmer's been in superb form, and I suppose personally I was kind of hoping that their withdrawal might have meant they weren't going to be available for the weekend, but it looks like they are going to be, and it looks like they should have a pretty much fully fit, certainly first team squad available for this weekend. Apart from James, obviously, who seems to be plagued by injuries, and again, he's on the sidelines this weekend. So moving on, let's talk about Leicester's injury list a little bit, and obviously the big one to talk about is Abdul Fatawu, who, after some rumours again on Abdul's own social media, started to play out. It's been confirmed that he's got a cruciate knee ligament injury, and Steve Cooper in the pre-match press conference today confirmed that Abdul Fatawu is out for the season, which is obviously a huge blow for the club. Tell me what you think about that. Who are we going to play down that right-hand side instead of Abdul this weekend? Do we change formation? Do we move to a different system in order to take into account the fact that he's not available and not fit to play? We're obviously going to have to make some changes in the more longer term because it's not just a few weeks; it's the whole season that he's unfortunately unavailable for. So yeah, give me your thoughts, give me your comments on the selection in midfield this weekend. Terence, be nice to see a defence turn up. Terence, I was gonna get to that, if I'm honest with you, because it's with the defence, it's an interesting scenario because obviously Ricardo is now unfit and not available, and you'd think that Christensen and Justin will play those fullback roles. At the start of the season, Cooper seemed to be favouring Akoli and Faz, and then Akoli seemed to make way for Vestergaard when Vestergaard got himself fully match fit and he came back into the side. What do you think about the defence? Because it is our Achilles heel in terms of leaking goals. You know, we've struggled all season to keep teams out. We've often had to play games this season and try and gain points from a losing position during games. What do you think about the defence? Who should we play at the back this weekend? Andy's saying that Bobby Cordova-Reid is an ideal replacement for Fatawu this weekend. I believe, Andy, that Cordova-Reid's also had a bit of an Achilles problem over the last week or two. I'm not sure if he's fully fit, mate. So I don't know if he'll either be available this weekend. Matthew is saying that a defensive-based team who can't defend. Yes, Matthew. Steve Cooper often plays a team which is quite defensive in its nature, but then again, we still end up leaking goals. Tell me what you think. What's your thoughts on how we should set up this weekend? I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. Other injuries that we're struggling with this weekend. Obviously, Ayew is picked up a knock as well when he was away on international duty. Steve Cooper alluded to the fact that injury, having been assessed by the Leicester physio team, isn't as bad as they first feared, and he might be in the match squad this weekend. So let's hope that that's the case, because I think at the minute with the injury list that we've got, we need every attacking-minded player we can available and fit for selection this weekend. Jamie Vardy is someone else that is worth bringing up and talking about as well, because obviously he's had a bit of a back problem. I noticed he'd nipped away during the international break for a bit of a holiday with his wife. Obviously back in training, I've seen on the club socials that he's been chucking snowballs at his teammates and whatever, and looks quite jovial in the training sessions leading up to this. So you would hope he's fit. and you would hope he's on the team sheet this weekend as our captain and number 9 up front. Because for me, and obviously, like I say, give me your views, get your comments in. I think he sets the tone for Leicester this season. I think Steve Cooper is very reliant on Jamie Vardy to be the talisman in that 11, and he's expecting and asking of him a full 90 minutes quite often, and it was quite clear in games that he's not played that we go down a level when he's not available for selection. So yeah, tell me what you think about who should play up front. Patson Daka is another person or another player that I'd like to talk about tonight as well, because he's been in training again for a couple of weeks, had a fairly lengthy layoff after that injury picked up in pre-season, but he has now been in training now for a little while, so you'd suggest that he's just about coming to the point where he's ready for first team selection. Tell me what you think. Should we play Patson Daka? Should we play Jamie Vardy? Should we change the system because Abdul Fatawu is unavailable? Who plays down the right if we stick to the same system? Yeah, absolutely. It'll be good to hear your thoughts. Dawn's saying she hopes the GOAT can start with fingers crossed. Absolutely, I'm the same as you. I think with the players we've got available, I think it becomes vital that Vardy takes to the pitch at the weekend. We need that. We need that spirit. We need that energy. We need that goal threat up front on Saturday. We absolutely need that. Andy's saying you wouldn't let Daka anywhere near the team. Well, Andy, he's had a lot of opportunities since he's been with the club. He's been paid a lot of money, and he's had a lot of opportunity, both in the Championship and the Premier League, to prove his worth. For me personally, I'm not sold. I don't think he's ever quite managed to establish himself as a first team starter. But yeah, it's an option, and at the minute, I'm rattling through all of the problems we've got this weekend with people unavailable and injured. Having players available at the minute is important. It might be that it's Patson Daka that's needed this weekend. Dawn's saying that Fundo can't play on Saturday. Yes, I was about to come to that, Dawn. Facundo Buonanotte is suspended this weekend, having picked up a selection of yellow cards. It's not very good news tonight, is it? If I'm being honest, I'm kind of sitting here rattling off a whole world of problems. But yes, what happens? I think most of us are on the same page that Facundo's been a bit of a spark in midfield. He's been a driving force. He's been tenacious. He's been creative. He's scored some great goals. He's a very talented Premier League prospect. For me personally, I'm still a little bit miffed that we've got no deal in there to sign him after this loan this season that he's got. But you can understand why Brighton are protecting their talent and want him back in the summer. But yeah, another blow. So what do we do? Do we go more defensive in midfield? Do we play El Canoes, who's had a bit of an in and out season? Obviously, we paid a lot of money for him in the summer, and he hasn't quite lived up to that billing yet. He's had a few cameos and scored a lovely goal, but he hasn't really, when he's played, been dominant in his performances or really given a display that you think, yeah, this guy's got Premier League quality yet. He's young. Let's not forget that. He's young and he's learning. And I think we've got a few in the team like that are young and learning and are kind of cutting their teeth this season in the Premier League. And I'm sure are desperate to prove that they're Premier League standard players. But yeah, tell me what you think, and tell me how we should line up in this midfield this weekend with all of these challenges we've got, with Fatawu out, with Buonanotte out. What do we do? Where do we go this Saturday lunchtime? Terence is saying if it was a boxing match, he'd throw the towel in. Well, that's, whilst I hear what you're saying, Terence, that's exactly what I don't want from our Leicester City team this weekend is whoever goes out there this weekend has got to believe they can get 3 points, has got to believe in each other, has got to be organised and motivated by Steve Cooper and his coaching staff, and has got to go out there and give an honest account of themselves, win, lose or draw. And yeah, we've got to get we've got to try everything we can to get something from this game at the weekend and try and get ourselves on track and keep ourselves clear of that bottom three. Okay, so Dawn and Andy are both suggesting that Alvis is an option. I was on with Phil on Monday night's show, and I think Phil was a little bit surprised that when I suggested that with Fundo out, that I'd personally play Alvis. I maintain that. For me, Will Alvis has not had enough of a game time this season. I think he's a Leicester City prospect. He's someone that we've nurtured, who understands the club, understands the mentality, has been there through the last few years, and has shown some real talent when he's had an opportunity to come on the pitch. Why not throw that in? Why not roll the dice and throw that in this weekend and say, do you know what? We've got some challenges with selection this weekend because of the injuries and suspensions that we're faced with. But I'm gonna show Will Alvis that I believe in his ability and give him a chance and let him get out there and show us all what he can bring to our Premier League campaign this season. Matthew, you're saying that Cooper will stand on the touchline and look like a spectator again. Yeah. Again, Alvis, talking about Alvis. Matthew, on the Cooper subject, I was at Old Trafford for the away game, the last game away at Old Trafford. And sometimes you sit and watch the team play and you see them toiling, struggling a little bit. And you look to Cooper as you sat there as a fan for a bit of inspiration, but he just kind of stands there at times with his hand on his chin, and he looks as perplexed sometimes as the rest of us with the performance, and that sometimes can be worrying. So I kind of get where you're coming from, Matthew, that, it's that leadership really, that we need, and we really need more than ever in this season, because it's going to be a battle. Right, so let's move on a little bit. We talked about all of the troubles we've got this weekend with players being out, being suspended, being injured. It's difficult to predict what 11's going to go out on the pitch this weekend. And I wanted to chuck a couple of wild cards in there and just ask your opinion on these. What do you think about Edouard? Edouard's been fringe player, obviously came in from Palace on loan. I would imagine the motive for that was a bit of an antidote to Iniacho leaving the club and getting another striker into the mix. What's the thoughts on him? Do you think it's about time he deserved an opportunity? Vardy's not quite right. Does he come in? Do we go down the Daka route? If Ayu's fit, do we play him up front? Because for me, when we played Ayu up front against Man United, Old Trafford, the last game, whilst I will always give you an honest and hard-working performance, he was virtually null and void in terms of any sort of impact on the game. The other one, obviously, is a Collie, in and out. Does he come in? Lots of questions this weekend, because I think Cooper's got to rethink both his tactics and selection a little bit, given what we've got to select this weekend. And I think, with kind of 5 or 7 or so minutes of this live stream left, it'd be good to start getting your score predictions in the comments as well. Start popping those in for me, and I'll get them up on screen for you. And we can talk about what you all think the score will be this weekend. Obviously, whilst we've conceded goals this season quite frequently, we've also at home managed to score quite a bit. So will this be the first game where we don't manage to get a goal this season at home? Edouard could be good if we get a few crosses in. Could be the new Ajoa. And that's an interesting point, actually, because sometimes the style of play, the system, makes a player look less effective than maybe they would be under a different system. And sometimes you've got to change your system to suit the players you're putting out on the pitch. I mean, Edouard is more of a physical presence. He's a bigger guy. Is he? If we did start throwing some more aggressive crosses in there, would he be the type to get on the end of them? Could he be the new kind of Ajoa from the bench? You tell me what you think. But yeah, like I say, anyone got a score prediction out there, pop him in for me. I'd really appreciate that. Give me a chance to get your opinions. If any of you think, we're all up for 3 points this weekend, then then tell me. It'd be great to hear your comments. Last real subject I wanted to talk about tonight was Steve Cooper, and not necessarily in a negative way, but just I picked up a little bit of news from Henry Winter, the football journalist, who this week wrote an article about Steve Cooper, and he was suggesting that Steve Cooper has a little bit of an unforgiving job at Leicester City, and Henry Winter was suggesting that the reason for that is a fair portion of the Leicester City fan base that have still got a level of expectation on the club that's better than we actually are now. Is that true? Pop it in the comments. Tell me what you think. Do you think Steve Cooper is battling against expectation? Do you think he's struggling with it because we're all sat there with our arms folded, expecting better than we're getting? Or is it that Steve Cooper is actually not quite living up to the billing? Or do you think Steve Cooper's doing really well? But I thought it was an interesting comment from Henry Winter, because it was quite a defensive piece that he published this week in favour of Steve Cooper, and saying, look, give this guy a chance. He's not inherited either a squad or club that was anything like the one that got relegated, and he's battling with that, and he's battling to keep us right. I mean, for me, I agree. To a degree, I agree with that. It's a tough ask. Any team that goes down and comes back up to the Premier League, it's a tough ask. The gulf between those two leagues is growing season by season, and that was absolutely borne out by the fact that the three teams that got promoted went down again last season, and you watch teams like Ipswich that are playing good, honest football in the same vein that they did last year, and they're struggling to pick up points. It's almost one of them where you've got to be a bit scruffy and just try and get points where you can and pick up points and keep yourself clear of danger. But have we ever fan base got the patience for that? You tell me. Tell me what you think on it. And also, like I say, anyone who's got a score prediction, pop that in the comments, and I'll certainly share that on screen and we can talk about it. Terence is saying keep the faith. I think we've all, Terence, got faith in the club. I think at times there's things that make us question sometimes the way things go, and it can be frustrating. It was never going to be an easy season, but we're not in the bottom three at the minute, so it's not awful. Andy, I think Cooper is out of his depth. Just look at Forest; they've got better since he left. Yes, I mean since they changed the manager, since De Santo went in there, they look like a team that could be challenging for Europe this season. They've certainly developed since he left. Is that because he left? Is that because of a change in circumstances? You could allege either. Difficult to say. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree with you that they certainly seem to have pushed on to bigger and better things since. Whether that's Cooper's fault, another matter. Jane, Cooper was doomed from start. Coming from Foxes, I quite like the man. It's just not going the way he wanted to at the moment. Yeah, I think Steve Cooper's an honest guy. I think he means well. I think he's got the right ethics and the right mentality at heart. It remains to be seen whether he's got the tactical ability to do what is a very difficult job. And it also depends on what happens. And I think for him this weekend, with all of those injuries we've just talked about, with all of those, with that suspension, with the way we played at Man United off the back of that, we've had an international break where quite a few players have been away. He's not had the whole group together during that period, which has also probably been a bit of a challenge for him. It's a big game this weekend, and it's a difficult game because of the circumstances. And Steve Cooper's got to earn his corn this weekend and come up with a team selection and some tactics that allows us to compete against what is, a very good team, and a very good team on a completely different financial level to us, that have got an absolute wealth of players at their disposal. And it's difficult for him and for us, but whatever our feelings are about the way the team's being managed, I think, as a collectively, as a group of people, we've got to get behind that team and give them every chance this weekend to try and get something from what's going to be a difficult game for the club this week with all of the challenges we've currently got. So that's it from me. I appreciate you joining me for this half-hour show previewing the game at the weekend. Let's hope that we can get something from the game at the weekend. Let's hope that Cooper finds a formula that allows us to compete, and we can negate the likes of Cole Palmer and really, make a good account of ourselves this weekend. Thanks ever so much for joining me this evening. It's really appreciated. Thanks. And if you see us on Saturday at the game, come and say hello. Thanks very much, everybody. Thanks for your company. Take care. Bye-bye.